Hi guys, today I want to show you how to create this really cool VFX smoke effect in Blender Grease Pencil. So let's get started. Okay, we create a new Blender scene and then bye-bye Mr. Cube. Then go to 2D animation. 2D animation, that's the workspace you want to work with. Then very importantly, make sure that your markers at the beginning here. Then we need to go down here and the frame rate, we're going to just make it 12 frames per second because that's usually what we animate. Things like smoke and VFX, cartoony stuff is usually animated at 12. And then we're going to go here to the bottom and then also make it start. So we've got a work area of 12 frames. Okay, now we've got our work area set up. Now we're just going to press Shift A or go to here, Add. So I'll use the shortcut key, Shift A, Grease Pencil blank. That's the next step. And it creates a grease pencil object for us. Then we go to this thing that says Data. And here we've got our layers. So I'm just going to uncheck lights. If you're using Blender 4.3, I think that's been disabled, that section. But anyway, we're just going to uncheck lights. And then this is basically where we're going to put all our grease pencil layers for all the different elements. And then just the one below that is basically where we're going to have our material. So for the first material, I'm just going to keep it as it is and just call it line. Then I'm going to go back here and just call this one guide. So we've got guide here and then line. Okay, and then I'm just going to go up here which says object mode. I'm going to go draw. And I'm just going to draw a line that's something like this. So this is just going to be our guide. And this is quite an old school way of working. This is how the guys at Walt Disney worked when they wanted to chart out a motion path. This is our smoke's going to travel here. It's going to come out fast and then it's going to dissipate slowly in the air. So I'm just going to put these rough guys. This is very rough. Just to show us the further they are apart, the faster the movement's going to be. And then obviously the slower, then the slower the movement. So this is these are just guides for the frames. You'll see it when I start animating. So I'm just putting these up here roughly. And then when I get here, they're going to get closer together. As you can see here, I don't even know how many they are. I'm just plotting a rough course for how we're going to do it. It's very organic when you're working with something like smoke. It's a very loose process. That's what I like about it. It's not like a lot of the other animations where you have to be very precise and keep your wits about it. It's almost like doodling. It's a lot of fun to create VFX. So okay, I've got this guide here. Okay, then I'm going to create a new layer and call this one smoke. Okay, so now I created another layer for smoke. I'm just going to take this guide layer and lock it because we don't want to accidentally use that. Then I'm going to go down to the materials and I'm going to create a new material by pressing the plus button and then new material. Let's call this smoke. And we don't want a stroke. We only want fill and we want it to be white. And just make sure that it's 100%. And now we've got the smoke material and the smoke layer created. So now we will make sure that we're in draw mode. Now this is very important. Make sure that this button here, this auto keying button is on. And you'll see why when we start drawing. Okay, so just make sure you've unchecked lights and then you've got your smoke material selected and you're in draw mode and you've got auto keying enabled. If you check all those things, once you've done that, we're good to go. Then let's start animating. So we're just going to draw a little smoke here. So it starts small, the smoke. It starts small at the source, and you can draw very roughly. It's not something very precise. Like I said, it's an organic process. Then I just press the arrow to go forward 1 frame. And then now I'm going to draw it again. But this time I'm going to draw it up to roughly about this line here on the guide and make it a bit bigger. So now it's growing a bit. Okay, and then if you see this green here, this is basically our onion skin. This is the previous frame. So it shows us where our previous frame was, so we can use that as a reference, and that's very handy. So we go into the next one, press the arrow key. And then now this one, I want this one to be quite big. Now this smoke pillar is getting quite large. So I'm just making it a bit bigger now. And then I go on to the next one. I do the same, make it big like that. Like I said, it's a very organic process. It's actually a lot of fun to do these type of things. So this is what we've got so far. And every time you're going to do it, it's going to look different. But that's part of the fun and the charm of it. So I'm going to make this one's probably going to be the smoke at its biggest. And from there on, it's going to dissipate. So you plan ahead, basically. See, now it's tailing off there at the beginning. So as you get here, then like this side, we're going to start make it dissipate. So the smoke's starting to break off at this end here. Then we go forward 1 more. And then we roughly draw it like this. I'm just drawing it the way I think it should be. Okay, maybe here we can start to break it off a bit. So that's starting to break off there. And then also maybe here. So it's what it's doing, it's breaking off and it's moving. It's moving up as it dissipates. In the same here, we can maybe have this little section going here. And then same here. And then also maybe here. Go to the next frame. Now the smoke pillar is getting smaller again. And this little cloud is going up and getting smaller. The same with this one. And also this one here. So that's basically the process. And let me just maybe add some broken off columns on this side as well. And maybe bring it over here. Okay. Let's see what we've got so far. Yours is going to look completely different to mine, and that's fine. That's part of the charm. Okay, so this guy here at the top is almost ended his life cycle. Same with this one here. This one here. And this one here. And so this one's moving in that direction. It's always good to use the onion skin to have that as a guide. And now the smoke is moving up. And the pillar is getting smaller with every frame. And more sections are breaking off. Let's have a section here breaking off, going into that direction. And the same here. Now everything's going to get a bit slower. So because at the beginning we had this very fast, explosive movement. And when we get up here, things are going to start getting a bit more slower as it dissipates. And maybe here we can start to break this column up here. You have to use your imagination with this. Like I said, this is not a science. It's more a thing that you feel. This one here is going into that direction. This one here is almost dead. This one's literally just a little blob going there. Same with this one. Same with that one. That one's moving this way. This one's moving here. This one's maybe going there. That one's going there. This one's going up. And then we go to the next frame. Maybe I'm going to break this pillar here now. Now let's break this one here. And then maybe have some of them here and then some of them going that direction. This one, it's going to animate that like that. Maybe this one breaks into a few parts as well. And that one is getting very small. This one's getting smaller. This one here is literally just a little line. This one here as well. And maybe just let's put another blob there. Go when this one broke off here. Okay, now we're getting to the end here. So all of them are getting smaller and getting pushed upwards. And they break off. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just moving them. But now we have to be mindful that we don't move them too much because everything is slowing now. The explosiveness of this part of the smoke is done now. So now it's starting to evaporate. I think I'm going to give myself a few more keyframes. I'll put it at 12. Let's make it 18. 18 should be enough. Okay, now this one slowly breaking up like this, and the movements are also not as extreme anymore. So I'm just creating this vapor. All of these smokes are getting pieces of smoke are getting invisible over time, and they're not moving as much anymore. Like I said, you don't have to be precise. This is not one of those parts. It's not like creating a character turn around that you need to be very precise. This is actually a lot of fun. Okay, now we're almost getting to the end. I only have a few sections. This one's literally a dot. That's literally a dot. This one's literally a line like that. That one. And this one here, this one, we can also make just a little line. Go forward here. I'm breaking that little column up there. And this one, we just end them off. We're almost done now. I think maybe 1 or 2 more frames. I think this should be our, we just have this little section and then break it up and then have that. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Let's go back to let's go here to our layers and then Just click the I button to make this one invisible and let's play it. Now that's looking quite cool. So that's basically our smoke done. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a camera. So Shift A, camera. And then now we go here up to where it says view. And we go to align view. And we say align camera to active camera to view. So now we've got the camera set up there. And then now we just need to frame the whole shot. So if you want to make sure that you're in camera, go to your numpad and press 0. Then you're in camera view. And then there's this whole pop-out section here. Press N. And now we can play with the camera. So we can just press Y to bring it back. So Y is just taking the camera back in Y space. So let's do that a bit. And then X is going to move it horizontally. And Z is going to move it up and down. So let's just make sure we've got our whole shot framed here. Okay. And I need to go back and Y a bit here. Just move it out. Just make sure you've got the shot framed nicely. It just takes a bit of tweaking. See, I'm just playing with it here. And also make sure with the rotation that your X is 90% and the rest are 0, because with the 2D you want like a flat view of the camera. So that's a bit, let me just go with the X a bit more. So I want to get everything in the frame. Okay, that seems to be perfect. I think we've got everything in camera frame now. You can go here to your camera and viewport display, and this thing that says pass a part out. Don't know what the hell that means, but basically have that selected. So under your camera, under viewport display, under pass a part out, make sure that's 100%. Then we can see if everything's in the frame. So it seems to be working now. Great. Okay, now let's set up the render settings. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, make sure you're in Eevee. If you go here under output or render properties, the second icon, then you go down to film, twirl that down, make sure you've got transparent. So we're going to render our transparent PNG images. And then just go to the output, select this output here, make sure you've got PNG selected and RGBA. That's very important because that basically means you've got RGB, the color, and the transparent. A is for alpha, which means transparency. Then we're just going to click here and we're just going to save it somewhere. Just say wherever the directory you want to save it. Just say accept. And then you go up here to render animation or control F12. And then it will render everything out for you. And it's actually quite fast. And if you want to view your animation, you can just press Control 11 and it shows you your animation. Now all you need to do is just go where you've saved the PNG sequence and open it up in After Effects or whatever software you want to use. I mean, obviously, if you're in After Effects, it will automatically create a sequence for you. So just make sure, because we've animated this at 12 frames per second, just make sure that the other software that you use, that you set it up like that as well. And that is how we make smoke and grease pencil. I hope you enjoyed it.